Am I live? Am I here? Oh, I feel like this is the scariest thing I've done in a hot minute. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm just in, I have, oh boy. Give me 1 second so I can make sure that because I just hit go on separate software and I've never done this. So I'm panicking. I'm so giddy though. What am I doing? I'm acting like I've never used YouTube before. Go to your channel. Go to live. Oh, and then it says, yes, indeed I am live. Well, there's 11 people watching. Welcome. Oh, this is so exciting. Whew, I'm so nervous. Oh my goodness. Yay. Okay, we did it. Woo. So the last, I had this idea after the video came out last week and I ran out of time to talk about my painting in it. I had filmed all of this footage of me going through and making the thing. It was going to be like the whole entire part of the video was going to be like my process of painting the sun. And then I got so derailed that I ended up running out of time in the edit to actually include the sun stuff. And then the feedback I got on it was like, is that a greasy pepperoni? In my defense, I had 1 day to finish the painting. So that is why I decided I would just go ahead and do it. Because I wanted to do another painting and spend a little bit more time on it anyway. And I know if I record it, there's a high likelihood that it just won't get edited. Ask me why. Ask me for the hundreds of other video clips I have on my phone of me doing time lapses of my artwork. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm just panicking a little bit because I'm just kind of, I need a deep breath, Grassley. It's not like I've never been on the internet before. Okay. And I don't have the chat up. I'm kind of relying on, I've got some awesome help right now from the BrainScoop moderators on the Discord. If you are not a part of the BrainScoop Discord, you should be. It is like the most delightful part of the internet. I love it so much. And I have some really awesome helpers. So they are going to funnel your questions to me. And so ask questions. I guess they can be relevant to the painting, preferably nothing weird. Happy to answer some more questions about the video that we just made. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. As long as it's not too weird. And no, I'm not going to send you pictures of my feet. That's not an acceptable question to ask. The answer is no. Proactively. Okay, I'm watching the... Oh, yay! Yay! If you join the Discord, oh my gosh, it's just, we have a pet channel and there's, we have people from, there's a guy who lives in, he doesn't live in there, but he takes care of some fallow deer in an old fortress in Europe. He's a frequenter of the Discord. Who else? I mean, you just have to see it for yourself. Oh, yeah, other questions. What's my favorite factoid about the sun? The one that didn't get included in the video is, I think, 130 million Earths could fit inside of the sun. And that was something that I wish I had more time to go into, is like the unfathomable scale of it. Because I can't wrap my head around that. And I know it's an oldie, but it's a goodie, is it takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds for light from the sun to reach us. So if the sun exploded right now, we've got a good 8 minutes and 20 seconds left together. So thank you for joining me. That's a good one. I like that. Braincraft just donated that. Oh, Vanessa Hill. What a gem. Oh, man. Vanessa's been my friend for a really long time. If you don't follow her channel, you should. She just got her doctorate in psychology and she studies sleep and bedtime procrastination specifically. Something that I was reading. I was honestly reading her. I follow her Substack. I think it's Substack. I'm sorry, Vanessa. I was reading it last night about 1 a.m. as I was procrastinating sleep. I was like, what would Vanessa say about this? So thank you for tuning in, Vanessa. Okay, I'm going to start painting a little because that's what I'm here for, right? Okay, so this is my setup and I have my little, if I keep looking down, it's because I have a monitor here so that I can watch myself so that I know that the camera angle looks good. But now that that's set up, I'm going to check this again. Okay, so here we are. All right, I'm just going to ignore this and we're going to do Bob Ross live and more unhinged. So this is 40 inches across. This was not I think it might be the largest circular canvas. That's not true, but it is the largest circular canvas I can fit upstairs in my studio. So I don't know if you've noticed the walls are not flat. It's because I'm in my attic. And so that's how I picked this size. But the idea to paint a sun was in part a suggestion by Caitlin Hoffmeister, who worked on SciShow for many years. And so I have credit to her for this idea. So anyway, I then was like, I'm sure NASA has something cool to say about the sun. And sure enough, they do. Oh, and I just lost, well, I scrolled my iPad, and this is the next picture that came up. I wasn't going to show you this, but I did get one of those absurdly tall skeletons this year. That aside, so this is the reference picture that I used, and it was, I think this one is like September 2022. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that date. But it's a coronal flare. So coronal mass ejection is what they call them, not injection. Coronal mass ejection. And that's basically a massive solar flare. So also this solar flare was like also massive, like larger than the planet Earth. And it really disrupted a lot of communications networks. And so that's partially why I picked this image. I just thought it looked cool, but also that's probably why it contributes to the greasy pepperoni aspect. So that's my reference picture. Whoop. And I always have it on on my tablet as a reference photo. So I can just like look at my tablet and then look at the painting and then doop-a-doop-a-doop and do that. I'm checking for questions really quick and then I'm going to start painting. Jordan asks, no, not Jordan. James Hood asks, what kind of paint will you be using? I'm using acrylic. And I'm not sponsored by this company, but I'm sure I forgot to turn around all the labels. So now you know what kind of paint I use. It's the brand is impeccable. Acrylic paint, you know, I come to terms with the fact that you're just basically painting with plastic. I have, you know, that's separate to the fact that it is a fantastic medium to use. And I'm not good with oil. I'm too impatient. And you can't, I get so upset about it. Like you can't put it down the drain and you have to use solvents and it's smelly and I don't know about that. So acrylic is washable. It comes in a lot of colors. It's not, I mean, I don't know if it's affordable. Paint is paint. Depends on the color you buy, which is also like an interesting thing. Like cadmiums, heavy metals, not only are they cancer causing, they are also really great for pigments. So it's why some of them come with little warnings on them. Not this one, but if I have a cadmium red somewhere. Anyway, it's like, don't drink this paint. Matthias asks, do you know what causes the 11-year cycle? I have no idea. Nope. Not a clue. I'm not even going to venture to guess what that is. I'm a, you know, I learned the information I needed to for the video, and there's so much to know. I just was like, you know, I'm just going to focus on the history of solar panels because I can wrap my head around the goofiness of the inventors more so than the science or the technology, because I'm like, ask me about bugs, you know, ask me about pollinating flies. I know more about that. Have I painted for long? That's a great question. I have prints. I have not prints of this one, but I have prints of the other one available on my website already. But the question, have I painted for long? Yes, I have painted for a long time. I started painting when everybody starts painting. Like, we all paint, finger painting, and I just never quit. And when I was in high school, I had a really great teacher, Mr. Gulp Branson, Rapid City Central High School. And I was like, I just keep spinning around because I'm looking for my palette. I had to put it away because it's wet. And I have a cat who is sleeping, but I don't trust that will last. So anyway, high school, I really got into painting because Mr. Gulbranson was a painter, and he did landscape painting. And I grew up in South Dakota and then went to school in Montana, and they've got some pretty solid landscapes out there. So I went to college for painting. I graduated some number of years ago. And then I didn't paint for like the 7 years I was at the Field Museum because I was working too much. I just had too much. I was traveling like every other week, and I was making a video every other week, and I just had a full-time job and no time. So it wasn't really until the pandemic, that I had a bunch of time to kill, and I started painting again. And then in 2022, I launched my online store so that I can sell prints all over the world, or at least I could until tariffs, but that's a separate conversation. So yeah, long story short, I have painted for a long time. I love painting, and I decided to study art in college because I was like, I can't, you know, it's kind of hard to freelance as a scientist, but you can kind of freelance as an artist. It's a skill that doesn't really go away unless you maim yourself. I'm going to stop talking about that one. Someone asks, oh, I got to follow up on questions. What paints can we drink? Connor, no paint is available to drink. Connor, don't do it. Don't do it. Yep. Someone else. Ray, I don't know. I'm sorry, I butchered that. My favorite insect is mole cricket. What's mine? What's my favorite insect? I've always been a fan of dung beetles, but increasingly I am a fan of wasps, especially parasitic wasps, ichneumonids. And it's hypothesized that there's a biomass, not a biomass, but so much biodiversity of parasitic wasps that it rivals beetles. So and parasitic wasps are great. They're great. You should get to know them. You should get to know them. They will, they have a really long, looks like a stinger, but it's called an ovipositor. And they, you know, depending on the species of parasitic wasp, it can be like little or it can be really long. And she will find prey that she will paralyze and inject it with some sort of zombie-ification so that the insect will remain alive, and then she can carry it back and feed it to her babies. And then I'm sorry, I have something in my eye. Basically she'll lay her eggs inside of like a caterpillar, for instance, and then the eggs will start eating the caterpillar from the inside out before they erupt from the caterpillar. I found one in my backyard recently. That was pretty cool. Okay, painting. I'm going to go back to painting. Okay, so this is the sun. I started with, well, the first thing I did was project this image from NASA onto my canvas. And then you can see it, maybe you can't see. I did a very light pencil outline just basically like, here's the outside and here's where the solar flare is. And then I did some sloppy scribbles to outline like these are going to be the darker parts. And for painting like this, it's smart. Excuse me. It's smart to do the outside first because it's like you make the dark and that you can layer on top of it. So it helps like push the dark into the background. I did not do that for the other one, but I should do that for this. So I'm gonna mix up some dark paint. I'm a big hater of black paint. I don't even think I own any black paint. And it's because in my experience, it just kind of turns grainy, like gritty, and it kind of flattens other colors. And I don't think it adds anything. So when I use dark colors, I like Payne's Gray because this one it's almost got like a bluish tint to it. And I like alizarin crimson. This isn't a good one. So basically make a really dark purple. And I'm using the liquid. Aw, Steffi says, me painting streams is what they've been wanting in their life. Wow. Well, here you are. Here you go. Free entertainment. You don't have to pay for this. I don't think. I think I've clicked a button where I can monetize this, but I'm like, are they going to interrupt me mid-sentence with a mid-roll ad or something? I don't know how that works. But anyway, largely should be free. It has no brains on it. That is not true. It always has brains on it. It's had brains on it for 13 years. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 videos where we forgot to put it in and it's ruined. Ruined. Can't watch those. Well, I can. I just don't watch them all the way through. Oh, goodness. Okay. Give me 1 second while I mix some stuff up. Heebity-jeebity. Man, this is why I can't be unattended by myself. It's when I think the last live stream I did on BrainScoop was probably I don't love that. Probably a dissection. It must have been like 2018 or something. And that was a hot minute ago. Well, okay. So if I paint right over where that solar flare is going to be, then I'm not going to remember where it is later. Am I back? Did I mess it up? Am I still here? Oh, goodness. I have so many cords and things. I'm like tripping over everything. I was looking for a wet paper towel. This is why Bob Ross didn't do it live. Did you know that he did 3 different paintings for every episode? He would do 1 painting to try and map out what it is that he wanted to do. And then, so you would have like a good, I guess, map for how he wanted to execute it while they were recording it. And then they would have the one that was made while he was recording. And then he would do a 3rd one for posterity that he really liked. And that one would be kept in some kind of archive. I never watched the documentary about Bob Ross because I don't want reality to impact my love for him. I don't know that there's anything in the documentary. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that, but yeah, this is a hunkin'. I'm glad that I came back fast, by the way. Yes, this, oh geez, and this got wet paint everywhere. I like to soup down and water down my paints, and so a bigger brush can just use a bigger brush for do you know how long this would take if I used a tiny brush? Believe me, there was a point in my life where I was like, I can do everything with a tiny brush. You can't. I'm here to tell you, you can't do it. Okay. So I like lots of things. Had a painting professor in college named Marianne Bongiorni. And Marianne Bongiorni, our first day of advanced drawing class, she gave everybody an eraser. And she said, this is the most important drawing tool you will own, more so than a pencil. The eraser is where it's at. And I have internalized that, even with painting. So that's another reason that I like acrylic, because you can just, while it's still wet anyway, just like erase it. And it doesn't matter because it's paint. You know what? I got paint all over my hand already. This is why I can't do digital art. People have asked me if I will do digital paintings, and I've tried it, but I don't. I like this. I like making a mess, and I like the physicality of it. I also like when I am. Hang on, I gotta secure that. When I am painting, I can't look at my phone, and that is really valuable. I learned that when I was in college as an undergraduate in ceramics class, especially. Like, you can kind of look at your phone when you're still painting or whatever, but when your hands are full of clay, you can't really look at your phone. So it forces you to concentrate. All right, is that more secure? Marginally. Okay, where's my stuff? Where are my things? Let me tell you, this swirly chair, life-changing. Someone says this is as chaotic as I expected. Yeah, well, this is just my life, guys. This isn't a performance. This is I don't know. This is it. This is unedited Emily Grassley. There's so much nonsense cut out of the videos, and I need to reintroduce more nonsense. Oh, it's a good idea. I'm sorry. This is a note for the moderators. It's helpful in the chat when you like give a check mark under the question so I know if I've answered it. Thank you, moderators. They're doing a great job, aren't you guys? Round of applause for the moderating team. Yay. They're international too. There are people all over the place. I wanted to be a forensic pathologist since I was a little kid. What did you want to be, if you don't mind me asking? My first thing that I ever wanted to do was be a veterinarian, but not of just puppies and kitties. I wanted to be a veterinarian of large livestock animals. I'm not making that up. My family has ranch in South Dakota near Faith, which is where Sue the T-Rex was found. That's a different story. You'll have to watch my PBS documentary series for that story. But Prehistoric Road Trip, it's linked in a playlist on BrainScoop channel. Anyway, I grew up, I didn't live out there permanently, but we would go out there and spend a lot of time out there in the summers. So I grew up around horses and cattle. My dad is a cattle rancher. And I just like big animals. And not that I don't like cats and dogs, but man, first time you see a horse, it's just like, you know, when you, the first time you see a horse, I don't know if I could wrap my head around it, but I just like how large they are as animals, and the fact that, like, I don't know why this came up, but you have to do artificial insemination, and you learn at a young age what artificial insemination is. It's a very critical thing when you're, you know, breeding cattle and, you know, reinforcing gene pool or whatever. It's just how they do it. But a lot of the times you have to like get one of those plastic gloves up to your shoulder and like really get in there. And for whatever reason, I was like, sign me up. That looks fun. Does that surprise you all? Does it surprise you how I, as a 3-year-old, was like, that sounds fun, and then here we are? I don't know. I'm not really surprised by that. So I wanted to do that for a while. What else did I want to do? It was pretty early on. I think I was in like 7th grade or something. So I must have been like 12 when I learned that there are not a lot of like positive female role models in any industry. And even, I was not 12 years old that long ago. And when you look across like women who have made big impacts in the world, like artists are one of them. And I was like, you know what? If I want to succeed as a badass lady, maybe I'll be an artist. And that wasn't the only motivator for it, but I think it was like, maybe if I had seen a role model who was in science, I would have done that instead. But instead I was like, Georgie O'Keeffe and like that's the only female artist I can think of. With not Diego Rivera's wife, who was cooler than him. That's Georgie O'Keeffe. No, somebody fact check me. Anyway, so I wanted to be an artist for that partly for that reason, partially for that. And then I don't know. I'd never had any female role models in science. So I didn't do that. And I guess that's why I am really passionate about highlighting a lot of women and other diverse people in science, so that you watching at home can be like, hey, that person looks like me. Hey, maybe I can be a scientist. That's the whole point, guys. That's the whole point. Not that you're teaching everybody, like not everybody needs to be a scientist, but it's all about you feeling like you can unlock your own potential, no matter what that is. That's it. That's what I'm doing. Yes, the downfall of a round canvas. It is trying to escape. I don't need to encourage it anymore. Speaking of animals, how are Sybil and Edith doing? That's a great question. Sybil is napping over there, and I am shocked she's not up right now, because normally if I'm talking on a phone call, she's like, "Oh, you're talking to me? You need my attention. I'm here." She is currently snoozing over there, but no promises. She may end up crashing the whole thing. What ink do I use to highlight them? And is it drinkable? No. Connor, no. Connor, you cannot drink ink or paint. Connor, my friend, put it down. Speaking of Georgie O'Keeffe, have you ever painted flower still lifes? I don't think I have. No, I don't know that I have. I don't do a lot of plants because I'm scared of them. And they have a lot of facets and leaves that go in many different directions and petals that you have to count. And it stresses me out. Even thinking about it stresses me out. Question, did you stretch this canvas yourself? I did not. I did not do this. I don't even know how you stretch around canvas. I mean, I do. Okay. Well, it has a lot of staples in the back is how they did it. I did not do this. I have stretched canvases. Gonna be honest with you. Blick, they are not a sponsor, but they do make some pretty affordable large canvases that are much better than I can make. And it's like I would have to either buy the pre-stretched bars or the cut bars or cut them myself. And I don't have a wood shop to do that. And then I have to buy and store a giant roll of canvas, and I have to staple things. I'm lazy. I did it when I was in college, and I was my favorite part of what I did. Okay, I'm going to keep painting. How many people are tuning into this? I feel bad. I don't know. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. I mean, things are going well as far as I'm concerned. I'm just like, It's just a whole lot to manage, and not a lot to whatever. I'm going to start painting. This is what I was talking about. I'm much better edited. I panic a little bit when people want to see me live. I'm a well curated, I wouldn't say persona, but it's a lot of this nonsense that doesn't make it into the final video because it would be just so distracting. Like, what is she even talking about anymore? Well, you saw how that happened with this video. The sun video. I thought it was just going to be a video about painting the sun, and then I uncovered this wild true crime conspiracy, which was, don't even get me started, George Cove. So the way that this came up, nobody asked me about this right now, but I'm going to talk about it. I was like, how old is the earliest like modern solar panel? Thinking it was going to be like the 60s, maybe. 1800s, didn't expect that. So I'm like, what? I want to see an old timey picture. And what happened was I was on SmithsonianMagazine.com and I was reading an article, because I always start with some basic like the history of solar panels, and the Smithsonian has an article about it. We'll just start researching there because they usually have some citations at the end of the article, and I will read those to do my own research. And one of the images that was at the top of the page was this black and white picture of George Cove standing behind some solar panels. I don't know if it was him or if it was just a picture of the solar panels, because there are a few that exist. Regardless, I wanted to use the photo and make sure that it was in the public domain, because I only use material that I license or can be used from public domain, etc. And the photo credit said courtesy of John Perrin or Perlin. And he wrote a book called like the 6,000 Year History of Solar Panels or Solar Energy, something. And so apparently he had provided the image, but he didn't take the picture unless he time traveled to 1909. It was published somewhere. So how did he get a hold of it? And then I remembered Google Lens is a beautiful thing. So I looked up Google Lens, and that's when it came up with the Modern Electric magazine, and it was George Cove. So that picture had initially been misattributed to Charles Fritz, was the reason that I couldn't find a picture of him, because every picture was misattributed and it was actually George Cove. And so when I thought that was when the story ended, and I was like, well, it's just a case of, some fact checkers not doing their fact checking when it came to history and archive. But I wanted to find the initial source. So when I found Modern Electric magazine, I was able to find other pictures and then find other publications. And that's when I found the newspaper article from 1911. That was like, oh, crimey. It turns out that George Cove was ripping off his investors. Crikey. And he really was. That's what he went to prison for. Like selling fraudulent stocks. And so then the narrative, because I think people were researching this, they're like, wait, Cove was abducted, and he was claiming that he's also the one that provided the note to the police, his ransom note. And so I don't know if some people have spun up like, well, maybe it was all the cops have been paid off by the fossil fuel company. Like, honestly, guys, I think he was just a fraud. And then, because I found that there was like one mention at the end of one blog post about like, hey, he was running concealed wires. I'm like, how did that? A former employee was a whistleblower. Former employee went to the cops. The cops got the Postal Service involved. They'd been monitoring him for a year before the whole debacle came out where he was abducted. And I know I talked about this in the video, but I'm not over it yet, because I'm like, this is wild, guys. Have you also, can you tell that I have listened to a couple of true crime podcasts in the last few years? Okay. Someone says, what do you mean it looks like a pepperoni? Hello? Oh, but yeah, how picky I am with my own art. I'm not just picky with my own art. People said that in the comments, guys. It wasn't just me calling it a pepperoni. I was fine with it looking a little like a pepperoni, but it was, I'm just addressing the comments. Okay, so far I've made very little progress on this, and I don't love this purple. It needs to be a little more blue, but that's okay, because we just build it up. We just create more layers. Also, excuse me, I've got some hydration here. I didn't buy this. This is not an ad. This is a Stanley. I don't know why I'm whispering. This is a Stanley. This was a gift from SciAm, Scientific American, and I did a little unboxing on my Instagram. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, that's what you're missing out on. But anyway, I was like, oh, I have never owned one of these, because I think they're kind of expensive, and it's not quite as large as I would like. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just go see how much more a larger one is. $50? Y'all are telling me you're spending $50 on a water bottle? I was shook. I was standing in the aisle at the store, and I was looking at the ones that are like trendier than the Stanleys now. And I'm like, listen, I'm call back to our, what were the plastic ones we all had in college? Not the Culligan ones. Anyway, they were just plastic. They had no insulation, and your water went tepid instantly. Anyway, so insulated water bottles are the way to go. But anyway, I was just like, in this economy? But the colors are really cute, though. Speaking of true crime, have you ever watched Only Murders in the Building? I have, and that show is great, and it's a fun revolving cast of like, I can't believe they got this person to be in the show, that's really fun. I enjoyed that. I also thought Selena Gomez, is that her name? She did pretty good. I just didn't expect her to be an actress. I don't really keep up with a lot of pop culture. I don't know if that is parent. Nalgene. Yes, Nalgene. That's what they're called. Thank you. Beep, 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 beep. So yes, I enjoyed that show a lot. And then I haven't watched the newest season because I stopped paying for a bunch of streaming things because I don't watch them that much. And then I have like 8 services that I'm like, well, I'm paying for this and I'm not even using them. It's like 2025 equivalent of having too many cable channels. And I'm like, I don't even know. I'm adding another blue. I'm adding ultramarine because this is a little too purpley. Someone says it's not too late to paint the Eye of Sauron. You're right, it's not. And maybe that would help me sell the other one. It has not. I need it. Oh gosh, I got some in my hair. I have seen some people will like pick up thrift store paintings and they will paint stuff like that in the back. And I always think that's pretty clever. Pretty clever. I still don't. It's too purple. It's too purple. You miss out on this if you're doing things digital. And this is also why I love physical painting. I didn't put a single one of these marks on this apron. This was nothing but one accident after another. And that's kind of, I don't know, part of the fun. Highly recommend. Highly recommend painting if you haven't tried it in a hot minute. It's just a good way to spend your time. That seems like something an artist would say. Sometimes it's helpful to have someone else like in the room to keep me focused. It's just me. It's just me and the text chat. And I guess this is what streamers do, right? People do this all the time. I mean, I'm enjoying myself. We'll see what the rewatchability is. I might scroll through this in some great amount of horror and be like, I cannot believe, it's very possible I'm just gonna blank out everything I say right now. Don't fall off. Don't fall. Like, if I whisper to my canvas, it'll listen. Don't move. Do you ever go stylized with your colors, or do you prefer naturalism? I don't know. I kind of follow my heart when it comes to the colors. A lot of it is like color theory. So, part of the reason that I think this looks kind of like browny almost is that I start with the base color, yellow, and yellow and purple are complementary colors. When you add them together, you get brown. So I will need to build up enough layers that it no longer looks brown. But I don't know. I'll use a number of different colors to paint the sun. In general, if you look at any of my paintings on my website, there's usually a multitude of hues and colors involved. I did a painting with the Field Museum's artist in residence, Peggy McNamara. And she has a wonderful quote where she says something about like she has to use all of the colors in a painting because she doesn't want any of them to feel left out. Like, yeah, I get that. That's relatable. I mean, this is fine. It's fine. It's purple. I might as well just move on to another part of this. But I'm kind of enjoying just going around in a big circle. Oh, here's another thing that I can do. Oops. See, I got wet paint under my palette thing. Where's this gonna go? Oops. I made a lot of messes, guys. I made a mess. What was I gonna do? Oh, need another wet thing. So my colors are already. I've already got them dirty. I don't know why I'm doing this. That's the anti-Bob Ross. It's like, follow these clear instructions. I'm going to use this brush or technique to have this effect. And I'm like I don't know. Whatever. Looks fine. More questions. Ever thought about streaming regularly? I was going to kind of see how this goes and go from there. I'm having a good time. We'll see. I'll have to watch this back and be like, this is quality Emily Grassley, or be like, this woman is unhinged. Well, it could be either or. We'll just see what happens. Have I ever painted Nebula? Nebula? No, I have not. This is actually my second space painting, because my first one was in the video, so I haven't done that. But this is kind of why I like trying new things, and it was a fun excuse for the video to give me this idea to try a new art thing. So that was cool. Cool opportunity. Scott Mansfield said. Oh my God, Scott Mansfield! Does my picture have any brains on it? You should at the end put one in the corner. Yes, I will. I will draw it still has brains on it on the back of the canvas. That's a good idea. It still has paint on it. haven't even been at this that long. It does still have paint on it. I'm telling you guys, after 13 years, we can't give up now. Maybe we should. Maybe I should retire it, but I can't. Can't. Hey, it's not, I don't have enough light over here. I can't move that. Okay, what's next? Well, I poured some blue paint on here, so I might as well use it. That's another, like, how do you make decisions about what do you do next? It was like, I poured too much of this paint and I don't want to waste this paint, so we're just going to add some blue somewhere in here. I don't know, the universe is variable in color, right? I'm a big fan of this large paintbrush. When I was in college, my senior thesis painting that I worked on before my graduation was a very large mural. It was a, very large landscape painting. It was 8 by 13 feet. And I was broke, so I wasn't going to, I didn't have thousands of dollars to spend on like this kind of acrylic paint. I mean, some of these, like, I'd venture to guess I probably spent $40 on this. And this is one of the more affordable colors, I think. Some of them get really expensive. So anyway, large painting. I needed to figure out how I was going to get that much paint. And so you can use house paint, which is great, but I needed specific colors. And so I don't know why I'm admitting this publicly, but if you mix up some paint at a hardware store and you pick a color and then you bring it back and you're like, it wasn't actually the color that I thought I wanted. And if you haven't really used a lot of it, they'll sell it on the discount rack. And so I had friends, went around town, hitting up hardware stores, getting them to mix up certain hues that I needed and then returning it so I could come in and buy it at a discount. Sorry, Ace Hardware. I was just doing what I could. I was so broke. Why did I admit that? I guess it's not, I don't know. The paint got paid for twice. What do they care? Yeah, what do they care? I was just in college. I didn't have any money. This is 2 seconds away from rolling onto the finished painting that is listed for sale on my website at emilygrassley.com/shop. But I need to move it so that it can remain for sale. Wow, what a lovely painting of a sunset of the Florida Keys. I went there on a vacation. Wow, it's so nice. I'm going to put it in a safe space. When TikTok started their TikTok shop thing, I was really excited because I was like, oh, finally, I can show my paintings on, like, I can have a through line from my social media to the store. And I saw people were being super successful in TikTok shop. And then I realized very quickly, it's just QVC. It's just modern day QVC. Everyone's just a salesperson, which is just fine. That's fine. I respect the hustle. But I don't know. I'm not a very great salesperson, as you can tell, probably. Sophie said, it's crazy to think about how long you've been at this. I started watching your vids when I was 13 or 14. And now I'm 23. Whew, what a journey. Wow. Well, thank you for sticking around. That's so cool. I just eventually think that people grow out of grow out of me. They're just like, Emily Grassley was, and people probably do. I'm not, but I just assume like everybody, once they hit like, I don't know what age, they're eventually like, I gotta turn this woman off. But it's nice that people want to hang out for so long. I feel very lucky that I've been able to do this for as long as I have, because what a job, what a life. This channel has taken me on so many places, like across the world. I met so many people. I've interviewed hundreds of folks. I've learned. It's just been the greatest. It's the greatest. It's the greatest. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I couldn't do this without you all putting up with my antics. Oh, such nice comments. Okay, what's next? I used up that blue paint. And now I should paint more of the middle part, right? It's probably what's next. The thing, okay, so here's how how I would approach this. This, can you see this? Yes, you can. You can see this. This picture of the sun. Okay, the reason that I wanted to start with yellow is it's kind of it's about as bright as you want for a background color when you have highlights that are this hot. Like, it's way harder to start with a dark background and then reintroduce or try to introduce these as layers on top of it. So the more you can, I'll just preserve this and then kind of paint around it and layer things that way. So it's kind of like, well, what's the middle hue? I don't want to start with something too dark. So I kind of need to paint. I got to get some orange and kind of start from around the edges. And then, yeah, I think I just heard my cat downstairs start meowing. And I was like, she's probably coming. I can hear her coming. She does the thing where, like, she'll walk around the house with a toy in her mouth and meow a lot. So that's what she's doing, which is usually she does that before she brings me a toy. She's like, I'll practice for you. So we'll see. Maybe she's just like enjoying herself. So, Madarao. I hope I pronounced that close. I also ended up getting a zoology degree, and this is one of the biggest inspirations for me. Aww. Aww. Aww, I hear that a lot, actually, and that's the greatest thing. I think that's probably my biggest motivation for why I still do this is, I don't know, it's incredibly rewarding to hear that our show or videos helped people, you know, open their eyes to possibilities for themselves or topics or fields of research or whatever. And I think that's so cool. It's also a little strange. I've literally raised a generation of people. Like it was mentioned, folks who started watching when they're like 13 and in middle school, early high school, and then they make their decisions on where they go to college and what they study. And folks have master's degrees and PhDs and are now like credentialed scientists themselves and lecturers. And I'm like, I didn't know. We were just talking about bugs. I was just having a good time. The outcome that's a bonus. Someone asked, how's life going? Do I have kids? I have 2 calico cats named Sybil and Edith, and I have 2 eastern box turtles named Duke Bolton and the Flash, and one is 55 and the other one is 52, and I rescued them from a reptile rescue because they have been, I mean, that's a long time to be a turtle in someone's house. And I saw a listing for, I was like, someone please adopt these 2 old guys. And I was like, I'll take them. So I have those. I have a piranha named Alejandro. And I have another kind of cichlid fish named Tico. And I have a number of other tetras and catfish and random things. And I just adopted 100 red wiggler Canadian earthworms because I got tired of going to the pet store for turtle food. And so I was just like, I'm just going to bulk order earthworms. So now I have an earthworm colony in my basement. So that's that answer to, do I have kids? I'm plenty busy. And I've got all the spiders in the basement. What do I need kids for? Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm having a great time. This is, it's not that I like to hear myself talk, because it is a lot of that. I am just sitting here hearing myself talk, but and staring into a camera. But it's the same as this doing it live, or I'm doing it recorded. Someone says, do the turts headbutt your feet ever? They do not. They are I keep them in, they each have their own horse trough, and it's like this by this size, and it's fairly deep, and they each have their own little horse trough that they can roam around in and dig in. And I do have an outdoor, like, raised planter's bed that in the summertime I let them roam around in there too. But they will bite my fingers. They associate me with food, so they will eat my fingers. Someone says, daughter went to Sternberg over the summer. Oh, the experience she gained there cemented her track to paleontology. Yay! Yay! I have been a fan of the Sternberg Museum for a really long time, and they have a phenomenal summer camp director named David Levering, and he is great. And if you have a middle or high school student and want to send them to like an awesome paleo opportunity, they have camps that happen all over the country, and some of them are virtual, some of them are on campuses, some of them are in the field. And if I were that age, I would beg my parents to let me do that. And in fact, I was supposed to participate in one of these years, but then funding kind of, I don't know what happened, or timing, something happened. No, permits. It's always permits. That's what happened. We couldn't get filming permits. Oh, that's what happened. No, now I'm mad about that all over again. But anyway, Sternberg's great. I'm really glad that your kid had a great time. Diana Cowan, Physics Girl, said hi. Aww. Oh, I started watching you and I inspired you to start your channel? No, I didn't. No, I didn't, Diana. Oh my God, that's going to make me cry. Oh, I love you, Diana. You guys should check out Physics Girl. Amazing back catalog of like the best educational videos on YouTube. Physics especially. Diana has been dealing with some chronic illness the last few years, which is unfair and terrible and the worst. And she still manages to bring everyone so much joy. And I love that so much. But yeah, follow Diana, follow her health journey. Send her lots of love, because I do every day. I love you, Diana. You're the best. You're the best YouTube has to offer. Okay. I should get back to painting this thing probably. But I'm having such a good time. Chit-chatting. I'm shocked that my cats are behaving right now. Okay, we're doing orange. That's what's up. I love you, Diana. Aw. So we got, this is a color I resisted buying for a long time because I'm like, it's so unnatural. I guess to go back to the question, do I paint with natural or unnatural colors? It was mostly natural until I realized like, oh, well, the sun is kind of this color. It's also indistinguishable. This is called Pyrrole, Pyrrole, orange. Pyrrole, I don't know how to pronounce that. And this is Vat Orange. You be the judge of this, okay? Listen, I'm telling you, I majored in colors. I graduated with a degree in colors. And I really can't. I mean, is it like is a consistency thing? How are these marketed and sold as different pigments? Golden. Yeah, if I like kind of put a line between the two, they are the same. They're the same thing. They're the same image. I have that like Pam Beasley from The Office meme. Like they're the same image. They're the same picture. They're the same thing. I guess now it's like which one's going to be cheaper. They must have a different formula or something. I don't know. I can't have just rebranded it. Why am I hypothesizing about this? Okay. So, orange time. It's orange time. What are we doing? Gotta find an appropriate size brush. This looks a little too small. If it's too small, it gets to be a real pain in the butt. If it's too big, it makes a giant mess. It's like that's probably the right size. It's the Goldilocks of brushes. Also, I should probably always use fresh water. I just keep two different waters. I keep a water that all the cool colors go into, and I keep a water that all the warm colors go into. And that way, at least, I'm not using brown water. I'm using purple water or orange water. Because I'm lazy. That's it. And because I got to walk all the way downstairs. I got to walk back upstairs. Someone says, man, oh, imagination show. Hey, buddy. Acrylics, oils, gouache, pastels. Is it 100% acrylics for you? No, it's not. Actually, what am I doing? I'm looking for this. I got into watercolors more recently because a friend of mine moved to Japan and got me this ink brush pen. And this changed my life. I did nothing but use it to create the background for watercolors. So that's what I was doing. I was doodling, and then I do a little doodle with the ink brush pen, and then I was doing watercolors on top of it. But the thing about watercolors is it's a practice. Like I can, with acrylic paint, I cannot paint with acrylics for like a year and then come back and I know the paint is going to behave the same way. Watercolor doesn't want you to be happy. Watercolor doesn't care about your feelings. Watercolor demands patience and routine practice. So if I am in a watercolor phase, I'm fine and I can just do watercolors competently. But if, God forbid, I stop doing watercolors for a week, and it's like I've never done a watercolor painting in my life. So anyway, these, if I look at the dates of these, when I painted them, 23rd May, 25th May, 28 May, 20 May, no, 28 May, 1 June, 1 June, 1 June. So these are all kind of like back to back. And then I stopped 15th of June, and I am on a roll in this sketchbook. I don't want to mess up the next page with some lousy watercolor. So now I'm back to practicing again, which is what it's all about, right? It's back to practice. And if you follow me on Patreon and are a top tier patron, like $100 a month and up, I will send you original paintings. And a lot of them are like watercolor studies. and I love them. It's just like these are the practices that I have to go through. So I've already gone through and inked up some ones. It's like making your own coloring book. It's kind of fun. So I've been doing watercolors. What else have I got going on? I do watercolors. I have, I don't know. I've also done oil pastels. I like oil pastels as well, but I kind of get into a mode of one style of painting or the other. So I'm back on the acrylic game. It also depends on the size, like the scale of how large I want to paint something. So watercolors are like not as much of a commitment as something like this. So I can and often will be up here in the middle of the night watercoloring. By the way, will you sell the painting? Yes, I will sell the painting. I will sell this painting. The other one's already for sale. Somebody should buy it. It's on my website, emilygrassley.com/shop. That is honestly how I make most of my money, because YouTube ad revenue doesn't pay much. So it's patrons and then selling my artwork, which is fun. Thank you, patrons. Patrons are the best. I love my patrons. You can, if you're a patron, we can do this every month for sure. I don't know if I'll always stream to YouTube, but once a month, we will do a live patron hangout on Discord. And if you are one of my patrons, you get invited and you can hang out. And it's usually we usually end up talking about tacos, and we just have a good time. I don't know. Connor, the guy who keeps asking if he can drink paint and ink, he's usually there. Connor. That's how I know to give him a hard time. But we really enjoy our hangouts, and it's the first Wednesday of every month. It's at least an hour. Often we'll ramble into more time than that. But I love Patreon for that. Patreon, I think, has allowed me to interact with my audience. This makes it sound like it's a Patreon ad, but it kind of is. I'm trying to sell you guys on it, but I love that I can have like the Patreon Discord channel, and I treat it kind of like my personal group chat. So you never know. Sometimes I just will drop hot goss in there. Like really hot goss. Now I think about some of the stuff I've shared in there. I don't know. Better give me $3 a month so you can read it for yourself. Oh no! Ah! Not the drips! Okay, I'm anti-drip in this painting. No! I'm panicking! Oh goodness. I am not opposed to drips in a painting necessarily. However, the problem with drips on this painting is that it's going to flatten the image and make it not look like it's round anymore. And I can't have that. So we don't want any drips. We want circles. So we want to work. We want to pretend gravity doesn't exist here. Gravity is in the center of the sun. And what's nice about this canvas is I can lay it completely flat and vertical. Is it going to fall? There we go. So I can actually, it's going to fall. I can paint it like this. That's how I painted the other one, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be a little goofy for me to stand all the way back there right now. Come back here. Okay, so no drips. Get out of here. Another question. Do you find it easier to get art nerds interested in science facts or science nerds interested in art facts? 1,000% art nerds into science facts. Artists will eat up science. And I think what's interesting, a lot of people who are into like specimen prep or who work in museums have a background in art because they're really good with their hands. And so they have fantastic observational skills. When I was in, after I had graduated college with my art degree, I ended up being the teaching assistant for the graduate school archaeology classes when they had to learn faunal analysis, which is like you find a bone in the woods, what does it belong to? And that's how I really got into learning my anatomy in museums, was identifying all these like characteristics, morphological characteristics on bones and things. And artists are good at that because we just spend our time staring at stuff. And like that is the key to art, is spending a lot of time staring at things very intently. And so I think artists in general are naturally disposed to kind of leading that curiosity or leaning into it. Not that scientists aren't, but there is still very much a stigma of like art being a luxury, art being frivolous, art being not as consequential than science. And I disagree. I think modern science wouldn't exist without art. For the vast majority of human history, people couldn't read. So ideas were communicated through art. That's it. It's art and pictures and visual communication. And so I think often we're saturated with so much art around us that often we don't even realize that art is at the heart of it. Art is at the heart of it. Drip, bottom left. Oh, did I get it? Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for being on Drip Alert. Appreciate that. I also don't want drips in the middle here, but I'll have to deal with that later. So many scientists are artists so many artists are scientists in their own way too. Like I think about ceramicists have to be scientists because they're constantly playing chemistry in their brain, like trying to figure out, okay, if I heat this chemical or this glaze at this temperature, it's going to have this effect. Or what if I do the wrong combination of glazes and biscuit? You know, there's so many aspects of science and chemistry and ceramics that you wouldn't be able to have ceramics without science. So I think, you know, that's an interesting example. But I think too, to scientists' credit, I think in the same way that artists can find science to be unapproachable, absolutely art can be way unapproachable. Like just go to any contemporary art museum, and if you haven't done a considerable amount of like research ahead of time on the artist and the movement and the style and like all of that, you know, you're going to walk into a gallery and it's going to be a tarp stapled to a wall. And you just know some donor spent millions of dollars on it and it's going to make you mad. And then people are like, I don't get it. And then it's like, well, they wanted to make you mad. That's kind of the point, and it worked. And then people are like, oh, but it's bad art. And it's like, but it's not. It made you mad. Ha ha! They did it. They tricked you. They tricked you into having a feeling. Oh no. Oh no. I felt something. Oh my God. Oh. Whew. All right. A little over an hour into this, Emily's really, hey, you know, I look at this in the monitor. It doesn't look so bad. Huh. Cool. What am I doing? I haven't even looked at the reference image. It's kind of hard to go wrong when it's all amorphous color orange. Here's a little drippy do. You know, another way I can keep it from dripping that way is I did this when I was painting the first one. I can just rotate it. She says, easier said than done because I made that too tight. Well, I could if I wanted to. I decided I don't really want to anymore. Somebody says I have a new message. Who's hollering at me? Oh no, I closed the wrong window. Whew, okay, I'm back. How's everybody doing? Any more questions? I'm back to doing the orange stuff. Boo boo doo boo 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 doo. Boo doo doo boo 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 doo boo boo. I don't like those. Whoops. The question, when did I start painting? I mentioned that earlier, but I started painting, I started painting with finger paints and I never stopped. And I really got into it in high school. And then, yeah, I just never quit. Studied it in college. I declared an art major like going into college. I basically was like, I don't need to know anything else. Or I think I'm pretty set on this. It was art and music. Play the violin. If money in space was not a limit, what would you paint? Money in space is not a limit. I love painting large landscapes. Like I did my big mural for my senior thesis painting because I had space to do it in the art school. And that was really enjoyable. I loved making it. I like it when painting can be like more of a full body experience. I think that's another reason I don't love to just stick to something this size. Painting when you have to like put on a whole suit, like a whole painter suit, and the physicality of like really making broad strokes. I would do that. Absolutely. But I am limited. It's so expensive to ship paintings. That's the other thing that I'm having to like scale back on as well, is just being limited by shipping costs. I mean, I sold a painting and it cost me half as much for shipping. It cost me $1,200 to ship a painting across the country. So I don't ship large works. I don't like ship originals outside of the US. And with the tariffs, I don't know if I'll even sell prints outside of the United States. And that is the worst. So yeah, so I would do big stuff. I also really liked, I was doing a bunch of insects for a long time, like large insects. So I was taking still frames from footage of bugs in my backyard and then blowing them up and painting giant paintings. And that's when I made a spider painting that was like, was it 4 by 6 feet or something absurd like that? And then I was like, no, I can't find an audience for my giant spider painting. Why isn't anybody buying my giant spider painting? I don't know, Emily. Most people have arachnophobia and they don't have thousands of dollars to spend. Like the overlap of people who love bat imagery and who have, not bat, bug imagery and spiders and who have enough money to invest in that is separate. Academics like might be all about, oh no, might be about it, but not your friendly neighborhood arachnologist. Probably doesn't have a fine art budget. I mean, I would hope that would be great if they could. Somebody Oh, we almost had 100 viewers, but then it immediately dropped to 98. Wow, okay. Never mind to those people missing out on being part of the first 100. This is fun. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in. Well, I've kind of done the orange thing now. Where else should I put orange? Boom, 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 boom. So that's like, I don't know, that's a decent amount of orange. Here. I don't want to do the whole thing because I'm going to do some brownie stuff. Not brownies, but... Oh, yay, 100 people now. Yay. Yay, 100 people watching me. Oh. When I say it that way, I imagined like 100 people right behind the camera doing this. Do you have watched The Rehearsal? That a phenomenal show, but there's also a scene where they do an experiment where it's heard like being I can't explain it. Basically being followed around by a dozen people who are mimicking your exact action, so you become more confident in what you're doing. I think that was the point. Hi, Edith. Wow, I knew it couldn't last. I knew we would have a major disruption at some point. Yes, girl. I know. I know you have a lot to say. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Yes, I know you do. Here's Edith. There she is. There she is. She's my kitty cat. I love her so much. Hi, Edie. Say hi to everybody. I will just... I mean, she's like sitting on the microphone right now, but she will let me hold her like this for a considerable amount of time. But it makes it difficult to get work done or continue painting. But she's just a baby. You're just a baby, aren't you, Edie? I love her. Okay, Edie, I gotta put you down. Wow. Are you painting for NASA science project research thing? No. I'm just painting because I felt like it, because I thought it would be fun. Because I was gonna do it anyway. And I thought, well, I'll just stream it. And this will be moderately educational. But Edith is here now. She's so brave. She's so brave. I gotta get rid of these drips. Also, I realized, like, my hair looks so... What in the 1950s is going on with this right now? I have normally seen my hair from that side, and I feel like it's a little bit more reasonable. There we go. I gotta fix this. Gotta fix this business. I mean, it's still gonna look ridiculous. Boop, 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 boop. Ugh. Stick a fork in your hair. Okay, I did it. Hi, Edie. What's it like being just a little baby? I'm taking a break. Kitty break. Oh, that's not a good angle for you, Edie. There you go. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, Edie, I gotta get back to painting. You're so toasty. Oh, it's so toasty. Looks like I'm wearing something under my apron. Jeez. No! No, 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 no. How long are you streaming for? That's a great question. Probably until, probably for another like 20-ish minutes. I'm waiting for a man to come and finish installing new windows in my house. He was supposed to be here yesterday. And then he didn't, and then he wasn't here. And then he's like, I'll be back tomorrow morning. And I was like, no, don't. I've got stuff to do. So I told him when to come back. But, you know, they don't. We'll say 20 minutes or until my doorbell rings. See, I still look at it. I got that beehive. The 1950s hairdo. I don't hate it. What's next? Okay, I'm going to do a little brown. And then you'll be able to see the vision. A little burnt sienna. Boop boo. A little bit of brown. A little bit of whatever this violet is. Quinacridone. I don't know. Give that a shot. And I like mixing with the little rubber silicone guy. So then your paintbrush doesn't get all mucked up with the paint. It's a palette knife. I guess that's why they call it a palette knife. And is this gonna look? Oh, I like that. That's nice. That's nice. Okay, we can do that. I'm gonna do this part with a palette knife instead of a brush. How about that? Why don't we just give that a shot? And I have a big one. Sometimes you can just go to the kitchen supply store. You know, it depends on what you're looking for. I love using a palette knife to paint with. It just gives you these crispy lines on the outside, and you can like drag it and it makes like a scumbly pattern or texture. And you can just kind of move it around. And it makes like cool lines, and then you can do stuff like, yeah! Do I like cooking? Cooking kind of stresses me out. I'm not the cook in my family. I'm really lucky that somebody else in my family loves to cook, because it is not me. It just stresses me out. It's like there's hot elements, and I feel a pressure to get everything cooked at the same time and be done all together. And what if it doesn't work out? And then you put in all that effort, and then you're like, well, I have to do it again tomorrow? I gotta do it again later today? I was like, I will just eat some crackers over the sink and call it a night, you know? Don't come to me for dietary advice. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of cooking. I did used to bake a lot. I was a baker for a restaurant. Really, it was like a coffee shop, but we did sandwiches and stuff too. But yeah, I was their baker, and I would do that in between museum stuff. So I would it's how the Natural History Museum stuff got started, basically. It's I would volunteer there. I'd go to my baking shift from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then go to campus at the Zoological Museum from 10 until 5. And then from 5 until 10 at night, I would go back to work to finish doing the food prep for the next morning. Always with like these 16-hour days. They were crazy. Don't do that. So yeah, I will cook in a professional setting, but cooking for myself is like, meh. I don't know. I don't love this. What is my favorite singer in Hollywood? I don't know. I love Joanna Newsom, but she's not for everybody. Joanna Newsom is like it's kind of, I don't know, avant-garde, but she plays the harp. She's wildly talented. She also happens to be married to Andy Samberg. The most unlikely pairing. But Joanna Newsom is phenomenal. She's a great lyricist. But yeah, if you don't like Bjork, you probably won't like Joanna. I like Adele. I like Beyonce. I like... I don't know. I love Brandy Carlisle. I don't know, I guess is she a Hollywood singer? I don't know what I think of it. Brandy Carlisle is more like country rock. She has a new album coming out. I would love to go see her live. Brandy Carlisle. When I don't like the brush marks or other marks, I just wipe them away. I don't like that. I used to be really nervous about making a mistake in painting, but then you can just paint over it. So I won't like any of this, which is fine. If I paint over 90% of this, the 10% that's left behind will be there for a reason, possibly. Or I come back to this later and I'm like, what is that color? It looks like it's rubbing steak meat all over it. Another question. Saw your TikTok with the cute dresses today. I got hitched earlier this year, and last night in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep, I was like, I want to post my wedding dress pictures on TikTok because nobody follows me on TikTok, and I thought it was safe over there. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. Oh, I didn't answer the other part of that question, did I? When I travel for projects, am I traveling alone? Sometimes. It depends. But mostly no. I guess mostly, yeah. I am mostly traveling with somebody else. I had to think through that one. It depends on what it is, though. Like, if I'm going to go visit my parents, maybe I'll just go do that. But it's nice to have someone to travel with. If you like to travel, which I do, I have found it to be... It's a privilege, too. Like, being able to go to different places. Figure out how to navigate O'Hare Airport. But yeah, is it good for the environment? No. Would I use a high-speed rail service if it existed in the United States? Absolutely. We need more trains, y'all. I don't like this. What? I don't like these colors. That's brown. I don't like that. I don't like this. That is not an unusual statement for me to make while I'm painting something. I don't like this. It's pretty consistent sentiment. I'm gonna get rid of this part. I gotta put this down. Someone else asked, do you think it's cool that birds are dinosaurs? I absolutely do think it's cool that birds are dinosaurs. It is wild. In some birds, you can really tell. Like, have you ever seen a shoebill stork? There's no question that was a dinosaur. Or like a moa. Are they those what they're called? The big ones. Cassowaries. Cassowaries are terrifying. You can't look at a cassowary and tell me that it's not a dinosaur. I think that's pretty cool. I also think that, evolution is just amazing in general. I like studying ancient, deep time geologic events because it puts everything into perspective of where we are now and what an impact we're making now. But also the planet's been through a lot of stuff. It'll probably be okay. The planet will. I'm just saying, if I were going to be an organism on this planet, I would, if I had to be a vertebrate, I'd be a crocodile or a turtle. Like they're good at hunkering down and making it through. I don't like that. It just looks like it's just a bad brown, dirty, all I can think of is when you're like cooking hamburger and you throw the thing away that the hamburger has been sitting on. That's the color. It's not satisfactory to me at this moment in time. Maybe I'll do a different palette guy. Oops. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just do this thing. Nope, that's still brown. I mean, I guess it's brown in the picture. Oh, it's fine, whatever. What's your opinion about cloning of extinct animals? How do I want to answer this question? Cloning of extinct animals. So sort of the idea like de-extinction, more or less. It's a lot of hype. It's a lot of hype. And you have to ask yourself the question, who is funding this? What did they get out of this? Is this peer reviewed? I don't think it's peer reviewed. I'm not sure. Is it a press release or is it paper? It was a press release. It wasn't a paper. If that answers your question. I have a really hard time getting excited about things like de-extinction when it's just so much speculative money that goes into it. And I think the motivations are wrong. And I think if you want to help endangered species or something, or fight the biodiversity crisis and prevent those sort of things in the future, there's interesting technology that can be facilitated with it, but it's not a solution. It's not a practical solution. Spend that money on actually established programs by reputable scientists. I know that is a hot take that may irritate people, but I think the problem with de-extinction too is that it's misleading. It doesn't help it doesn't help. It lulls people into a false sense of security that somebody else is fixing the problem of species extinction, and it's not the case. These are still very much issues that need a lot of attention, and the I don't know, the magic solution isn't necessarily bringing back a mammoth. And it's just not even practical. Plus, what they're claiming is essentially taking a superficial gene. It would be the equivalent of taking the gene that makes an orangutan hairy and orange and implanting that gene into a human baby and then being like, look, we fixed it. It's no, you gave a so it's not the same thing anyway. The dire wolves were not wolves. They're okay. I'm gonna stop babbling about this. I should do a new video about, because I did do a de-extinction video like 11 years ago or something. It was one of the first things I mentioned on Brain Scoop, like even before it was at the Field Museum, I think. So I should do an update. Apparently I have strong feelings about it. Boom, boom. Okay, I don't hate this as much as I did a minute ago. So part of it is just you have to keep layering in colors and building on top of the other stuff. Keep some of these dark parts in here. This is fun. Thank you guys for tuning in and asking fun questions. So I'm not just sitting here picking my nose. Although I'm sure people would watch that as well. Weirdos. But you could be doing anything else. I guess you could have this window up in the background. If you're at work, I hope you're having a good work day. Read any good books lately? That's a great question. What is the most relevant book I've read recently? Oh my goodness. Jeez. I haven't read a good book in a long time. And it's not because I've been reading books that are bad. I haven't been reading books. I think a lot of the reading, most of the reading I do is like reference reading. I'll tell you, I spent a good amount of time going through the Fort Wayne Sentinel from the early 1900s, and that was a fascinating read. So I read a lot of papers, I read a lot of news articles. I like... What is the last book I read? Like a book. I cannot even... Wow, I need to apparently increase my literacy. I think if I went in my office right now, I would immediately see a book and be like, oh yeah, that is the thing that I was reading last. Does anybody have a good recommendation for nonfiction? Or, I guess, fiction, either way. I only almost exclusively read nonfiction. I don't know. I find it... Sometimes I find fiction a little boring because I'm like, they just made this all up, which is like, obviously it's fiction, but I like stories based in nonfiction things. Like recently was reading the new field guide to cicadas of North America. That was a pretty solid read. I was also a big fan of the fireflies and glowworms field guide that I was reading periodically. If I wasn't streaming, would you be listening to anything while painting? Yeah, that's mostly what I've been doing. Instead of like reading books, I listen to podcasts a lot of the time. And I also listen to public radio. I like public radio. Support public radio, NPR. You remember stations. Chicago has a really good classical radio station. I like to listen to classical music. But I love podcasts. I love listening to Ologies with Allie Ward. That is a solid podcast. I also I have a complicated relationship with true crime in that I feel uncomfortable that other people's trauma is a form of entertainment, but I also think there's like a lot of validity to true crime in the way that it can connect people together and solve crimes and all this. So I will occasionally listen to some, but I don't like the physical, like gory ones. I like the white collar crime, scammy, catfishing kind of ones. So I just listened to one called Flesh and Code, and it was a podcast about people who were part of the community for, I called like Real Me or something like that. It was one of those AI companies that made like an AI bot that you could fall in love with, and a lot of people did fall in love with their AI bots. And then there were policy changes, and the platform had to go offline. And when it came back online, all of these chat bots had been kind of stripped of a lot of the things that made them unique and personable. And so that was a really fascinating podcast listen. That one's called Flesh and Code. There's also ones like, listen to one about Winds of Change, how a song from the 1980s from the German band Scorpion was it was sort of a conspiracy theory that Winds of Change was this song that was developed by the CIA in an effort to bring down the Berlin Wall. That's a wild listen. So you can check that one out. There's also one about Siegfried and Roy, the tiger trainers in Las Vegas, and how one of them was mauled, and that was fascinating. So yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Yeah. Another question. What palette are you using? This? I don't know what this is. I got it at an art store. What I like about it is when you paint with acrylic, you can peel it off. So I wish it had a brand on it. I don't think it does. Oh, it does. Mijello. Made in Korea. Probably got it from Blick. What about the birds in my backyard? I saw in my video in COVID times, we were bored in a house. Yes, I was also bored in a house. I have great birds in my backyard. And that is, I sit up here and I can see directly into the backyard. And I have, where's my little guy? Oh, I don't know what I did with it, but I have a monoscope that I will use to spy on my backyard. I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, yeah. So I watch birds from up here. It's nice. I can see when the house wrens are back for the season. I put out grape jelly for the Orioles. They like grape jelly. And yeah, what other birds in the backyard? I don't know. The fall migrants are going through, if they haven't already passed through, and that's kind of a bummer because I don't want it to turn to winter. But I do migration season is the most exciting time in the spring. And there is a number of Baltimore Orioles that will come back to my yard every single year. And it's pretty cool because I'm like, you guys came all the way from Central America or South America. That's a long way. That's a long way to end up in Chicago. So I make sure to put out a lot of bird food to help them in the spring with their migration. Another question, what is the status of the squirrels in my house? Pitter-patter's back up there. I have a couple, I had one lady squirrel chew a hole into my attic so I could hear her running up and down the length of my attic. And that was kind of annoying. And she was really only there over winter. And so I was like, she'll leave in the spring. And then in the spring, I heard little squirrel noises, like baby squirrel noises. And the first time it happened, I called like a pest person. I didn't know what to do. And he just punched a hole in the wall and reached in and took out 2 tiny squirrel babies and then handed them to me and was like, good luck. So I had to take them to a rehabber. I don't know if they lived, but before we could get the hole patched, she left. And I was like, well, now that she's gone for the season, we'll fix it later. And then we didn't fix it. And then she had 2 more babies in there. And now there are 3 squirrels living in my attic. But we have a contractor who's building a whole new thing to replace the hole that they're coming in. And I will get scaffolding built so that I can get up there and get the squirrels. And to make sure that there aren't bees in my attic, because that was also a consideration. I have had honeybees end up in my studio a couple of times in the last few years. I'm going to make a video about this next, because the honeybee thing is kind of out of control. Like honeybees have a democratic society. They will vote. There's a new honeybee queen. She will send scouts out and be like, find a good place for us to go set up shop. So these scouting troops will go out from the hive and they will like try to find a suitable hole or a cavity or part of a tree or inside of someone's wall in their house. And then they will do all these wild behaviors. So I've had a swarm in my studio more than once where they have found a way to get into the attic and then into my studio, but they can't get back out. And so all of a sudden I'll just be in my studio and there will be bees. Like I'll see 1 bee and then it's like, oh no, there's 2 bees. And then it's just bees. It's bees. So yeah, I'm excited to get some of that wildlife out of my house. I'm back outside. So yeah, we are running up on the 2-hour mark and I can feel it in my brain a little bit. I'll answer some more questions, but then I think I'll wrap this up in a few minutes. Ask your questions now, nerds. I'm here. I'm ready. Oh gosh. I just opened up what the stream looks like on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, what a joker. I can't wait to read all these other comments that I haven't been reading because I've been trying to focus. Do I have parrots sometimes? Oh, because of the house, the parrots at my bird feeder. They haven't been back in a winter or so, but I really have to be consistent about the bird food that I put out. And yes, there is a species of parrot called monk parakeets that live in Hyde Park, Chicago. It's the northernmost range of this introduced species of parakeets, and they can survive in the winter. And so they occasionally, out of nowhere, you will hear a flock of parrots, and it's very distinct. They're very noisy. I haven't seen them come to my house, but I haven't been putting out bird food in the summer. But I will this fall and see if they come back. Bees can do basic math too? Probably. I am going to be learning a lot about bees and honeybees as I work on this next video. Send me your bee facts. I love bees. Bees! Bees! Any dream collaborators that would love to work with but haven't yet? Oh my gosh, so many. Oh. I mean, like, name an educational YouTuber. The thing about living in Chicago is that it's really hard to meet up with people unless they come here or have a budget to go meet them. And we can do virtual collaborations too. I need a good idea for one, and then I will probably pester that person. I would love to, I don't know. Depends on what we're doing, I guess. I would love to do a collab with like Simone Yetch. I have no idea what we would do, but I think she's pretty cool. I would love to work with her on a video. I would love to, I don't know. I need to think of these answers. Like Caitlin Doty, another one. Perfect example. Somebody else who I have done a collaboration with. She was great. I would love to do another interview with her or whatever. I think that would be a lot of fun. If I could sit and watch any artist, past or present, paint, who would I choose? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think Michelangelo would be pretty exciting to see him do the Sistine Chapel, but also fairly convinced that he sent a bunch of his apprentices up there to do a lot of the work. I think that would be cool. I love Jenny Saville. She's one of my favorite artists. I would love to watch her paint. I love to watch any artist at work. I could watch someone, and that's a lot of what I do. I'll watch like ceramicists or artists in their craft. I love watching printmakers. If I could be a tree, what tree would I be? A bur oak. Have you ever seen those? Those are gnarly looking trees. That'd be cool. Or maybe like a bristlecone pine. They live for a really long time. Like so long. I can't remember how long, but it's an inconceivable amount of time. Oh, someone suggested Adam Savage or Physics Girl team up. Absolutely. I would do those two as well. Will I come again in SciShow with Hank Green? I don't know. That's a good question, Hank Green. If Hank Green invited me back on SciShow, I would do it. I hosted SciShow 2012, guys. Like a few videos. That was a long time ago. SciShow Quiz Show was fun. I don't think they do that anymore, though. SciShow was fun. I really like working with Complexly and the Vlog Brothers guys. I loved being on Crash Course. That was a great time. Simone could invent something and I could paint it. Yeah, I would do that. I would paint anything. Simone would called me up. What Muppet do you feel the strongest connection with? Snuffleupagus. Probably. That's a good one. Snuffleupagus. I like Oscar the Grouch. I don't know that I feel connected to him, but I see where he's coming from. I have a lot of empathy for Oscar the Grouch. And I like the worms that live with Oscar the Grouch. Miss Piggy, I'm not the biggest fan. And Gonzo is I know that's controversial, but I don't trust him. Oh, I Paint Burbs on Twitch is a fun artist. Oh, I've heard of her. Yeah, she does birds and scientific illustration. She's been recommended to me before. Maybe I should look at some of those artists and see what they actually do to keep people engaged, and if she actually accomplishes more in a painting than I did. Although I think we made some progress here. It's on its way. It's not done. I mean, this is stage one of where it very much looks like a mess. But it's getting there. Question: did I know Oscar's canonically orange? I did not. I didn't know that. Is he orange, but then he's dirty, so he's green because he's in the garbage all the time? Is that how he ended up green? I love Sesame Street, guys. It's just great. I'm just waiting for a few more questions. Any love for Beaker? Huge love for Beaker. Swedish Chef as well. Big fan. Beaker. Me, 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 me. Is that why somebody asked? Because am I making Muppet noises? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take one more question, and then I'm gonna log off and wait for the window installer to come and install the windows in my house. This was fun. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Still waiting for the last question. I don't know where that accent came from. It's also cool if people don't have any more questions. No, this won't fit. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This was fun. This will be recorded. It has been recorded, so you can watch it later if you missed any of it. Okay, I'm logging off. Thank you, guys. Love you. Goodbye. Goodbye.